Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. Well, it's been a long fucking week. I feel like I say that every time, but this week has truly been a long one. We've been waiting, not necessarily to hear back, but we've just been going through the process of this real estate deal, and like every deal is different. I mean, especially when you're in the seller's seat and not just in the agent seat, because I've done both ends, and like, fuck, it's a negotiation. There is a, legitimate negotiation going on. So everything's been going good. There's been some fucking speed bumps. I'll get into those. But as of now, the house is still going to sell. It was a little dodgy there for a minute. It didn't look like it was going to, happen, unfortunately, which sucks because, like, dude, I'm so over moving. Like, I just want to get out of this house and into the next one and get the next chapter started. I just don't work well in this environment. Like, the routine I used to have was really good. Like, I could just, like, even like the podcast setup, like, even today, I was like, fuck the green screen. Maybe I'll try and do some background remover shit, but like, nah, like at this point, fuck it. I'm not popping it up again, at least because I felt like, look, we're supposed to be out of here on the 1st. I think today's the 27th or the 28th. It's the fucking 29th. That's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, like if this thing ends up closing on time, I would have like 48 hours to get all my shit out. I'm not interested in popping the green screen up for the fucking like 8th or 9th time. It was a cool background, I won't lie, but it's just like, it's whatever. It's besides the point. It's just like, until I get into the new spot where I can pick my new fucking spot to pod and do all this shit and my editing and all that, it's just gotten a little wearing. I wouldn't use the word burnt out. I'm getting close to feeling burnt out on like trying to keep a consistent schedule despite the circumstances. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm definitely tired. And I had a little headache earlier, so I apologize, but pop some Advil. It was just, I think we're going on 9 to 10 days. I like to do the pod once a week. With what's going on, a week feels like fucking 2 days. So like every 10 days, I feel like it's been appropriate. And I think this is number 68. My goal is to hit 100 by the end of the year. I don't want to get too far away from my point on the real estate deal, but I've been thinking a lot about like where I'm at with the podcast. I got a flashback on my phone today about Facebook saying like this time last year I was on episode 19, which is fucking hard to believe because when you're in those early episodes, getting to 19 felt like I can't believe I've done 19 of these. Now I'm like on 68. Like it's not like it's not impressing me. I'm still like, wow, I can't believe I've like had the dedication to, commit to doing this. But like, it's just interesting. It's like, wow, 68, like number 19 felt like it meant more than 68. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just is like, oh, I'm really building something here. Now I'm like, okay, 100's in sight. And I made a point when I started this. I said like, let's see if I can do 100. And if I don't have fun with it or don't enjoy doing it by 100, then yeah, sure. Like I'll, maybe I'll do something else with it, but I don't think that's the case. I really do enjoy doing this, so I'm glad I've done it. And I think it's only going to continue to compound and blossom into something bigger. But we're going through the eye of the storm right now. The deal is coming together. It was just like, look, we got a bad appraisal from I think a terrible appraiser. I can't mention his name, obviously, but it was bad and it was unfair. And we contested it. Even look at it, the appraisal is so bad. Even the fucking buyers were like, yo, we know it would be in our benefit not to contest this appraisal. We want to contest it with you. Everyone agreed. The lender agreed. And even when contested, this fucking appraiser didn't, change his mind. So it's frustrating. And also like, I get it. There's like legal reasons you don't want to not contest, but you obviously can't steer an appraiser. We weren't trying to do that. That wouldn't even be the case, but this was a legitimate concern of like valuation. That's kind of been a problem, but it's not even really the problem. The problem is that we had that I think I'd mentioned it a couple days ago, but that fucking electrician who gave like the nightmare report, we ended up seeing his report after his bid was almost 20 grand for what he wanted repaired. Our dude came over and did all the shit. Look, they also wanted a Tesla fucking charger. Okay, like it's like, I'm not buying you a Tesla fucking charger. This house was built in 1949. It didn't come with one when I got it, and I don't own a fucking Tesla. But minus the Tesla charger, you're still looking at like 10 G's worth of work, and our guy came and knocked it out, and it's all copacetic now. But it's besides the point. these little speed bumps cause some like friction on the deal. And to be honest, not even friction. The buyers have been super cool. They want the fucking house. Even right now, they're making like final decisions on whether or not they want to, it's a negotiation, whether our negotiation comes together or not, And gotta use a little bit of the art of the deal here and try and make it happen. So I think that's coming to fruition. I think I've been meditating and praying on it. I do think that the deal will close. I think these are the right people to buy it. I even said that in a couple episodes ago. Over the course of these last few episodes, I'm like, they're the ones. They're the ones. And yeah, that being said, really just this past week was like a lot of like struggling with that to some extent. Not struggling with it, but it's just like, dude, like my mind has been on the deal. I'm unfortunately, not even unfortunately, I am literally a part of the deal, I'm the one selling. So I've had to be present for a lot of that. And it's been a little distracting from like, say, day-to-day artistic ventures. But we did get a lot done this week despite that. I mean, Stevie and I have been working on a lot of like web apps and trying to just develop something outside of our usual field. I mentioned it a few pods ago, but I was working on like a mobile game. I'm still talking with Apple on it. I just like it's slow work. It's slow work dealing with these actual delivery of tech, because technology is very vetted before it actually hits the platform. Believe it or not, like they do give a fuck. Like you can't just have something out there in the world that's not properly like screened by the regulatory body, which in this case is Apple in their network, right? And it's been a lot of just back and forth. It's little things too, like, hey, like this needs to be like this or this needs to be like that. And it's like, okay, and then I'll go back and I'll work on it. Same with Stevie. And we have a couple apps out there. I mean, one of Stevie's apps, I think I mentioned it, top charted like number 40 in business apps in the world. So we've been really trying to double down on using some of our free time where we're not making movies to like, make a banging website or a banging app. And we've had a huge growth in these last few months with it. We've done startups before, but this one that he's working on right now, I won't mention it until it's out and like fully public, but it's sort of like a fund site where people can raise funds and stuff. And it's just not something we usually would do. We usually build like we've talked about in the past, but like real estate tools, like something we've had a background in, or film tools, something like we've built LUT Depot. Like we sell LUTs because we are already making them for ourselves. So it's like, fuck it. We're trying to get the look of this movie. You want it to look like fucking The Matrix. Well, here, I've got The Matrix LUT. You can go get it. We've done so many startups that like right now we're really like, okay, like we're broadening our horizons per se. I was working on another app for, musicians, something for like collecting tips. Like there's real world solution. Like you can use Venmo and you can use GoFundMe and all this shit, but there's not something specifically for like, oh, here, just like tip me as a musician. Even I have that like coffee website where you can like tip me or whatever, right? And I just like, it's not a bad site. And like, I just didn't like it. It's like, buy me a coffee. I get the concept, but it's like, I don't need your money for coffee. Like, if you want to support what I'm doing, great. And like, even then, it's like, this is all self-financed anyways. I'm not holding out a tin cup per se and being like, I need help. It's more so like, hey, if you believe in it, I can see that you do whatever, for me, that's really more what it is. Or for funding for a movie or something, it's really just like, hey, like make it easier for you, like a sign of good faith even, and to be honest, like I really like most of the money that I make goes back into creating art. Like it's just what I enjoy doing. So like I also like I don't like the idea of like, and this is like a little bit of a tangent, but like the idea of like the post Hollywood grind. I don't mean post, but like Hollywood is in a fucking change, right? And that whole grind that Hollywood perceived to people, like you go out and you work your way up the ranks, the totem pole of Hollywood. Like I just never liked it. I've always thought it was unattractive. And I know people that have done it and I know people who do it, but like hierarchy, in my opinion, is just an egotistical thing. And the gatekeeping element of Hollywood has fallen so hard that, you can read it. I've talked about Kane Parsons. I've talked about Curry Baker. I've talked about Sean fucking Baker. I guess Baker's a great last name to have if you want to be an indie filmmaker. But besides the point, they have climbed the walls. They've, gotten on the inside of the Hollywood machine. And like, dude, the cat's out of the bag. Like, if you want to make it in Hollywood, you can take that old school route. You can go and do the studio thing. You can go do the grind. You can go and get the agent. And like, I'm not even saying I'm against agents. I'd love to have an agent, sure. But like, I think what it used to be, it's not anymore. And I think more and more people are realizing that. I even see like there's like a group, and I'd consider myself one of them, but influencers in the filmmaking community where they're like selling the idea of like, hey, I made a movie, you can too. And there's some really cool people out there that are actually like, they've been grinding a lot longer than even I have in terms of actually producing films. And like, hats off to you. I have mutual respect for anyone who's made a movie, by the way. Like, it's not easy to do. It takes a lot of personal time and effort. And like, dude, even like a okay movie that I know isn't going to be like a hit, I'll watch it. Sometimes I'll revisit. Uh, we watched a Big Ed Kemper serial killer movie, and it's not the most well-made production. It's a timepiece on a nickel and dime budget, but you know what? I still like, A for effort. They told the story. I enjoyed it. My point more so is that people now know that they can make a movie. There's a group of influencers putting that image out there into the world. I consider myself one of them in terms of like trying to like open people's mind up. The same like message, like you can do it without Hollywood now more than ever, right? And I just think that if you're a creator, like right now is the time to just double down on yourself, invest in yourself. Don't worry about fucking trying to match the impossible standard that is Hollywood. Also, like, I won't mention any names, but I've listened to a lot of podcasts of like really, really successful fucking industry people that have had hit shows on HBO. They've been in movies that are just like fucking household name movies, like Notebook status. And they're doing exactly what I'm doing. They're like, hey, like maybe we should go make a movie ourselves, and maybe we'll make like some genre film, like a horror movie or whatever. And it's like, I totally fucking get it. The reason why everyone's turning away from maybe going the traditional route, especially right now in Hollywood, is because the money has dried up for like, you can't be like, in my opinion, a crew guy who's just raking in a couple hundred G's a year, just holding the camera, or even salary pay at like a studio. I'm sure there's still people that do it, but it's just like, you may as well go out and just do it yourself. Um, Maybe not necessarily do it yourself, but do it with a group of people that you want to be with. You don't need to just go and hire the crew. The old like, it's like that movie The Room, the Tommy Wiseau movie. Uh, I'll reference actually the movie about making that movie, The Disaster Artist. In The Disaster Artist, they show, is James Franco obviously acting as Tommy Wiseau, but they show Tommy Wiseau going to the rental house, and he's willing to pay like whatever it takes. Back in those days, I'm sure people are like, fuck yeah, like people will just spend thousands and thousands of dollars a week or $100,000 a month, $1,000,000 making a fucking movie. I just don't think that's what's happening anymore. I think people are like, like maybe I could just get gear, or maybe I could, instead of paying $10,000 for the shoot, maybe I could do this or that, like buy that thing and like reuse it for another movie. Not everyone's going to do that. And there's also people that like, I was just thinking about this before I started the show. I was just thinking about like, you know, expensive cameras. And I'm not saying like $5,000 or $6,000. I'm talking about like $30,000 plus cameras, 50,000, 100,000. And then buying the lens that's like a $500,000 kit. I'm talking about like studio quality shit. It's studio quality. It's in the kind of the fucking name. Like, do you really want to like chase that rabbit hole, or go down that rabbit hole rather? I've done it. I've spent so much money on fucking trying to chase quality because it's like, I think I've said this before. It's like a guy who wants an expensive guitar because they think it'll make him play better. My case wasn't that necessarily. I wanted a nice camera gear because I wanted to have a professional look. It was well worth it. But now that I know so much about cinematography and so much about fucking filmmaking, I don't need a Ferrari to let people know that. I just don't. If you even want to use another example, I feel like I had my midlife crisis in my 20s. I was like, well, I spent a ton of money in my 20s. I spent so much money on filmmaking and fucking music, like a lot of shit, chasing like the dragon per se. But it all trickled down to a universal understanding that it's really about the filmmaker, not the gear, not how many people you have on set, whoever's fucking bringing you a bagel or a fucking cigarette. It doesn't matter. It matters about the story and the vision and the tenacity to actually go out and make it. Because like an idea, they're a dime a dozen. That doesn't mean there's not good ideas out there, but like, dude, like Stevie would back me on this. We think of ideas constantly, right? And it's the one that you actually go out and make, the one that you actually execute or you write, or that you feel like this is the one. That's the one that matters. I'm not saying the other ones aren't good. I'm not even trying to disparage them. What I'm saying is that like execution and getting it done is all that matters. And I'm at a point where it's like, okay, I found the tools I need. I don't think I need the Ferrari anymore to let people know that the story is being told well, or that the movie's good because of this. Like I really like I knew with like especially using like red cameras, like dude, the bling of red is a fucking it's bling. It sounds so fucking good. I shot my movie on the red and it does look fucking good. But like I'm at a point where I'm like, well, you know what? I've used every fucking camera I want to use. I can shoot on the medium I want and get the results I want and not worry about the Hollywood fucking system. To like get back to my point and land this plane. Hollywood is just they're just pulling the wool over people's eyes. They want people to think it's hard to make a movie. And it is hard to make a movie. Like even what I'm saying, like water it down to just like, okay, like equipment and crew and all that shit. Like they want you to think it's fucking impossible. I have seen the other side. I'm like, it's not impossible. It's a lot of fucking work for sure. But like you guys are making it seem really, really hard. And I think the reason so many people from the industry are just going to indie is because they're like, well, I've been on a film set my whole life. Let's just say like one of these guys I was saying, like these OG dudes that are like been in the game 25 years. They're like, maybe I'll just start a production company. I'll get the gear. I'll start making shit. And then I'll just sell it to the streamer myself instead of letting Warner's bankroll it or Paramount. And like, this is not for all movies. Like I said, like there's like, you're not going to go out and see Toy Story on an indie budget. I get it. Or like fucking Batman. Those movies are prestige cinema. They are studio quality films. Let them be. I love those type of movies. And some of the movies I watched this week, albeit were fucking studio films, but they were very, very well made. Even though they were made with equipment or maybe budgetary things that don't reflect studio quality. It was a story that surpassed the actual quality in the long run in these movies. So anyways, to get to my, I guess, point on this or end my rant, I really think that filmmaking is in a point where Hollywood is just like, it's just kind of turned into ether. It's disappeared, It's been vaporized by their own doing. No one films movies in LA anymore. Influencers run LA. That's who's in fucking Los Angeles. There's food influencers, there's actor influencers, and it's okay. I will say this too about influencers. They do not always translate into cinema. We just watched a movie, and I hate to even say this because I do enjoy Theo Von's work. I think he's a great interviewer. I think he's a great podcaster. I think he's a good human being. I have no hatred or any dislike towards Theo Von in general. I actually think he's not even like that terrible at, doing like sketch comedy acting per se. I don't know if he's going to be a serious actor, but I just watched Busboys, his movie with David Spade. They self-financed, self-produced. They wrote it together. They got a friend to direct it. It just was a mess. I don't dislike Spade. I don't dislike Theo. I think they're both awesome, but something was off in this movie. And it was riddled with like influencers and Instagram stars. There was Trevor Wallace, there was Tim Dillon. Ironically, there was that one fucking guy from Batman who's in Batman Begins. I can't remember his name, but he's like fucking Falcone's fucking right-hand man. Besides the point, he ends up playing Theo's dad. Spoiler alert. It won't even fucking matter because if you watch this movie, you won't understand anything that's going on. It was just a weak movie. And I don't usually critique films like that brutally on here, but like it was universal. I went on IMDb, I read reviews. I'm like, damn, okay, like I'm not the only one who thought this was an absolute runaway train. Bad script, bad direction, poor editing, some jokes they tried to make a running joke throughout the movie that just didn't work. A very bad script, and I don't know who to blame. I don't know how many movies Spade's written. I don't know how many movies Theo's written. I'm guessing 0. I'm sure Theo, if he is with the right people and in good hands, maybe he would be fine as a performer. David Spade's a star, even despite the material. Like he's a movie star. Maybe people wouldn't think that, but I will say that I think Spade's a movie star. He's been in, yeah, dude, he's Joe Dirt. The guy's a fucking movie star. You know, I get he's not Leonardo DiCaprio by any means, but like he's made his mark. Um, and yeah, it was just a huge disappointment. And I guess I will say, like what I just said, like influencers, I think run LA. I don't think it's the same thing it used to be. Just putting it there. And I think that doesn't mean I wouldn't live in LA again or go to LA. I mean, I love going to LA. I just think right now, like Hollywood has transitioned so much. It's pushed away so much of like the filmmaker energy. Like the people I see making shit in LA are like the real shorts people. Uh, Maybe some indie movies, but like what was the last indie movie you saw in Los Angeles? I don't fucking can't think of one. And it's a shame because like, dude, Los Angeles should be the epicenter of filmmaking in the world. It should be the spot that filmmakers still want to go to. And like, I think LA will always be calling. People from all over the world want to be in Los Angeles, but particularly with filmmakers, especially the indie scene, they should really consider like giving people a break or doing something, you know. I watched a few LA movies this week, or at least one, I know for sure. Let me grab, I got my notes back, by the way. My fucking printer, we finally put it on a table. And it was just a fucking thick ass piece of paper we were using to make flyers for the open houses. And it was just stuck in there. We had to unjam that motherfucker. Hold on. Like I said, this room, this fucking hot room, makes me thirsty as fuck. Okay, yeah, actually I have my notes here. I put falling in love with movies again. I'll say this, because I've had so much downtime. Like I've also said this before as well. I would love to make a movie all the time. Like right now, I just quite frankly need to survive. Like I need to get through the moves so my head's clear and I can be 100% committed to the movie, because I'm not going to make anything I don't 1000% believe in. And that's just real talk. But I've been hanging and I've been just watching movies, and I'm literally watching movies start to end, like no fucking pausing. I'm like, man, like a movie that's good. It's like the greatest fix. There's no drug. There's no other thing for me that can make me feel like, wow, that felt just great to do. Just to watch a good movie. It's simple. It ain't much, but it's honest. But I mean, dude, for real, like it reminded me of why I love making movies, or why I wanted to make movies at all. And it's just so important to just watch it. And also, I've been having a very difficult time picking out a film to watch. I just go through the fucking Amazon Prime, Netflix, HBO, and just like, do I watch something I've seen? Do I pick something? My new rule is this. If I like the fucking trailer I'm watching, I'm clicking it. I don't care if it's not what I want to watch right now. I'm going to try it. If it fucking sucks, I'll switch it. But you know what happens like 90% of the time? I continue to watch the movie. It's amazing. You click it, you fucking watch it. And maybe this is a personal problem, but like I know trying to find something to watch, despite the millions of fucking options we have, is difficult. It makes you yearn for the days of like just being able to be like, here's the fucking like, there's 100 VHS tapes in this store. You go pick one or two. That's what you're watching all weekend. And you end up watching it twice. But anyways, I have fallen in love with movies again, just watching around the house. And just, man, movies are so powerful in general. Like they're so emotionally provoking, and it's good to feel like, you know, shit you wouldn't be like feeling in your regular waking life, because you know, life is for the most part pretty good, right? You're not usually feeling like these deep emotional cuts or like how characters are feeling. And when a movie can make you feel like that, it's fucking pretty dope. Like it's a very powerful thing. Very powerful thing. All right. This first one I watched this week was called The Whole Truth, 2016. Director Courtney Hunt, writer Nicholas Kazan, director of photography Jules O'Loughlin. Starring Keanu Reeves as Richard Ramsey, Renee Zellweger as Loretta Lassiter, Gugu Mbatha-Raw as Janelle Brady, and Gabriel Basso as Mike Lassiter. Yeah, you know, this was a courtroom drama / mystery. I want to say Mike Lassiter, Gabriel Basso, he played JD Vance in that movie. I can't remember the name. It's where he's a kid. It's the one based on his book. I always forget. And I personally don't even think I've actually fucking seen it. But I know it's on Netflix. Besides the point, he's in a lot of fucking shit. He was in Juror Number 2, which I think this movie got him the role. Yeah, so he's a standout young talent. Keanu also always fucking good. He's in so many movies I like. He's honestly, I think it's cool that he does so many movies. A lot of actors are very selective. They're like, I'm only doing this, I'm only doing that. It's just like during COVID, I watched so many Keanu Reeves movies. It's like, it's an endless line. Like, I don't think I could ever see them all. Besides the point, Keanu's a lawyer. Renee Zellweger, Loretta Lassiter, her son, Mike, is basically accused of murdering his father, right? And his father's name is Boone. And in the movie, Keanu cannot get the kid to talk to him, the Mike kid, right? He will not speak. He will not give him any information about the day of the crime. And it's slowly revealed in flashbacks the relationship he had with his father, his mother, how his mother was treated by the father, etc., right? And it kind of starts feeling like the Mike kid reveals when he finally gets on the stand that he was raped by the dad, and like he killed the dad because of this. And he said it was really self-defense. I felt threatened in the moment, right? And he confesses, and like Keanu's like, I can't believe he's confessing. Like, wait, we're gonna lose the case. This may ruin the movie, but if you want, cover your ears. If not, I mean, fuck it. This is an old one, 2016. It's on Prime, by the way, if you want to watch it. He says, whatever, he gets charged not guilty, right? And at the end, the twist that was so good is that this kid finds out that he goes to Keanu, he goes, why'd you kill my dad? And Keanu goes, what are you talking about? He goes, I know you were there. Like, he drew a picture in the last like courtroom scene. It was a picture of Keanu's watch. And he's just like, here's a picture. And he's just like, what is this? He's like, I know you killed my dad. He's like, your watch was on the ground at my house when I found him. And like the whole situation was like, the kid was out. He comes home early from soccer practice. When he comes into the room, his mom, and Keanu had actually plotted to kill the dad. She was in the shower hitting herself to make it look like the husband hit her with like this, like, it's like a fucking stone that she had her soap on or something in her shower, right? She hits herself. And then Keanu comes in a hoodie and just like takes a knife off the wall and stabs the dad in the heart, right? And I think their original setup was for Keanu. He's like going to tell the wife, like, hey, look like you got beat, and then grab the knife after I murder him, make it look like it's your handprint, right? Well, the son, Mike, showed up early from soccer practice because it got canceled, and he walked in. He thought his mom, like Keanu jumps out the window, and the mom's in there, and he thought his mom actually killed her husband, his dad. And he says, I'm going to take the blame. Like, he will not let his mom get in trouble. And it's like, in his mind, he really believes his mom is the killer initially, right? But then as things go on, he comes to the realization, oh, my dad, despite being like, dad was like low-key raping the mom. He was disparaging her. He's an alcoholic. He treated the son like shit, was telling him where to go to school. He was rich though. He took him on private jets to go look at college and shit, right? But he put it together that his mom was having an affair with Keanu. And that's why they conspired to kill the dad. And he's kind of thinking like, fuck the dad. Like, the dad and Keanu were also like old, like they used to work together. I think Keanu went out and did like Esquire work, but he used to work for the dad, right? That was like his apprenticeship. And the twist was so good. I mean, I hate to ruin it if you haven't seen it, but dude, it was a truly great film. I was actually really impressed. And like, I don't, see that many courtroom dramas that like are standout. There's a lot. I mean, it's not fair to say. I guess the good ones are good, but The Whole Truth had a great twist, and Keanu as a lawyer, he's very believable. I've also seen him in that other film. What is it? The Devil's Advocate with Pacino. A little bit more science fiction-y / supernatural, but no, dude, Keanu was really good in this. And same with this Mike Lasseter actor. What was his name one last time? Gabriel Bozzo. He's just a good, very Hollywood actor. He really fits the role. But anyways, for a courtroom drama, The Whole Truth was really good. Stevie and I really are interested in making a great courtroom drama at some point. We love Juror Number 2. I do think this Gabriel Bozzo kid was cast in Juror Number 2 because of this film. I think this film was directly, I think Clint Eastwood saw and said, you know what, like, I get the kid's done the role before, but like, my movie will probably get seen way more than this other film. And, typecast, it's very strange because it's a very similar situation in Juror Number 2. But typecasts are very, they're good and bad. You can get kind of backed into a corner. But if you are an actor who can play a certain role, it's like, fuck it. Like, you're gonna get work. People are gonna want to use you again and again and again because like he is the person that I imagine in that role, you know. Anyways, I don't think it's a bad thing. And then even like Keanu Reeves, like he's getting typecast as a lawyer. Not really. I mean, I guess he's twice, but okay, well maybe Keanu's not a good example because he's got a broad spectrum of shit he does. But he's just like he's a legitimate movie star. Once again, when you're a star, you can kind of just get anything you want to do and just fucking own it. At least for Keanu. All right, the next movie I watched this week was Regretting You, 2025. Director Josh Boone, writer Susan McMartin, Colleen Hoover, based on her novel. Starring Allison Williams, McKenna Grace, Dave Franco, Mason Thames. Scott Eastwood was also in it, and there was another actress, I don't remember her name, but Scott's always good. You know, he played the dad. Let's just frame it up. A group of friends are in high school, they're graduating. Dave Franco's kind of in love with Scott's girlfriend. We'll just use that for the example. And then his whatever, it's like unrequited, right? And like when they're out having their like last night of high school, whatever, she tells Franco that she's pregnant with like Scott's baby, and he's just like, oh my god, like he's like, you know, shook, right? Because he wanted to tell her, like he kind of tells her how he feels, and then she's like, hey, like I think my life's about to change. Cut to 17 years later, this chick, I can't remember her name, but she's got her daughter, the McKenna Grace character, Allison Williams. McKenna Grace is her daughter in the movie. And she's like, you know, going through her life. Everything's fine. She's raising her daughter. Her husband, Scott Eastwood, is like, you know, going to work. And her daughter's coming back from like, I don't know if it's school or whatever, but she ends up stopping and she meets like the local guy, like the Mason Thames character. Mason Thames is good. He's in Black Phone. I've seen him in a lot of stuff lately, but I really watched this movie for Scott Eastwood and fucking Dave Franco. Like, you know, I'm a fan of both of them, but like, it's just funny that that was what drew me to it. But it ended up being a pretty good movie. It's a typical like rom-com. It's very actually I'd say romantic drama. It's a serious film. But anyways, long story short, the girl's mom, Scott Eastwood, Scott Eastwood, the dad, and the other mom, like it's a sister of the Allison character, right? Her sister and Scott work at the same place, and they're both like, hey, like her maternity leave's over, and she's like, I'm headed back. And the sister's married to Dave Franco, so he comes back eventually, and they're married, and they just had their first kid, right? Hope that made fucking sense. Anyways, Scott and the sister are headed back to work. It's her first day back from maternity leave, right? The McKenna girl kind of just had an interaction with this guy, like was helping him out, give him a ride into town, and he's got a girlfriend, but like she wants to date him. He's like the cool guy at school, right? So her aunt and Scott leave to go to work. She goes to school, the daughter, and she's kind of subjected to like people like, oh, like this Mason Thames guy. People think that like you and him hooked up. That's like the girlfriend's mad, and she's like, I just gave him a ride. Anyways, while she's at school, she's texting her aunt about like, hey, like, what do I do? Like, he's got a girlfriend. She's like, you don't want to be the other girl. Like, believe me, like, don't do it. Like, you know, just wait till they're single. She's like, okay. So anyways, the mom is at home while everyone's gone, and she gets a call, and she has to go to the hospital. When she gets to the hospital, Dave Franco's character is also at the hospital, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you came, you know, because of Scott getting in a car accident. And he's like, what are you talking about? My wife just got in a car accident, the sister. And they both realize, oh, they were together. Well, they don't say it right away, but they kind of put it together like, hey, like, I think our spouses were having an affair. And the daughter doesn't know that they were together. She thinks or I think she knows they were together, but I think she thinks her aunt was driving. Anyways, they have a funeral. The daughter starts hanging out with the bad boy again, the Mason Thames character, he's like a fine kid. There's nothing wrong with him, but the mom thinks he's bad because his dad was like a bad apple, went to jail, whatever, right? Prison. So his reputation is kind of fucked. But long story short, the Dave Franco and the Allison character, they go out to go and find her husband's car after the funeral, Scott Eastwood's car, and it's parked at a resort. And she's like, this is where he used to take me on like, you know, trips. And like, she gets angry and they drive the car back after she kind of like beats it up with her purse. And then Dave Franco and her are just like trying to like keep it together, right? He also, after he discovers, because they're both like, well, obviously they were cheating. He comes over like the next day with his baby. He's like, I can't take it. It looks just like him. He even thinks, he's like, I don't even think this kid's mine, right? And he's starting to have his doubts. And like, the daughter doesn't really know what's going on. She's just like, why is everyone so angry? She's like, I get everyone's grieving, but like, she doesn't know something's up yet. They haven't told her that there was any infidelity going on. So, anyways, they go over and he's helping. Franco comes over later. The girl is developing a relationship with the guy, right? The teenage girl with the fucking Mason Thames. And then Dave Franco and the, chick, Allison, they start developing their relationship again as well. And while they're fixing something, they find like love letters and like a fucking, what do you call it? Like a tool chest. And things start making them be like, fuck them. Like they really didn't care about us. Like, why should we be? And Franco kind of says, he's like, hey, like, remember when we had this moment? He like plays a song and it was like back when they were in the pool, they had their like legs locked, they were about to kiss, but then like the other two came out and he's just like, you know what? Like we didn't do anything wrong. They did. And we actually wanted to do something wrong, which is like, he's at the point where he's like, fuck it. So she gets mad. They have a little fight. The next day they meet up again and they like have a kiss. And then the daughter walks in and she gets pissed because the mom's like, you can't date this like guy. He's bad news, right? Don't hang out with him. And then the girl's like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to invite the guy over. I just saw my mom kissing, her sister's ex-husband. But she, in her mind, thinks that they're being like, she's like, is this what you guys plan to do all along? She doesn't know that they had unrequited feelings and that this shit had fucked them up. Like, they had to like live with this idea that something happened with their, significant other. So anyways, the girl invites the Mason Thames guy over to come and like bang her, take her virginity. And then like, when he gets there, he hears that he's being used as leverage. He's like, fuck you. Like, he gets upset. Like, the next morning, he's like, wow, you're just using me to piss off your family. And he's like, honestly, like, I actually like you. I don't want this. Everything comes falling down right in the end. Franco gets with the mom. The daughter gets with the guy. They button it up really well. I don't want to ruin it because in case somebody wants to watch it. But, for a movie that is so, like, people might call it generic or universal or whatever, dude, it was like of the utmost care. I was actually impressed. Maybe it wasn't this movie. I want to say it was. We watched something else. I want to say it was shot by Robert Yeoman, which would be crazy because he's like Wes Anderson's DP. But besides the point, shot with the utmost care, directed well. For a movie, like it's uplifting despite the nature of it. Just a very good movie. It made you believe in people having like a good heart and like things working out and like I don't know. I was very impressed with Regretting You. It's not the most cinephile film, but that's also something else I'll say. Like, dude, I get it. Like, I love Martin Scorsese. I love Quentin Tarantino. I run their shit all the time. I'm not only watching that shit. Like sometimes you gotta watch like some mainstream fucking shit and just appreciate it. And I also think if this movie was made on an indie budget, maybe it would come out just as cool, just as good. But Regretting You was a great fucking film. 10 out of 10 for the type of movie it is. I would watch it again. It's kind of like not a rainy day movie. It's a Sunday movie. It's Sunday morning. You want something you can throw on, drink coffee, hang out, kind of just nestle into the fucking sofa. Regretting You, It ends fucking on a high note. Despite, like I said, the context, it's not that nefarious feeling when you watch it. The next movie I watched was Heat, 1995. Michael Mann, director of photography, Dante Spinotti, starring Al Pacino as Vincent Hanna, Robert De Niro as Neil McCauley, Val Kilmer as Chris Shirless, Tom Sizemore as Michael Cifaretto, or Michael Chirito, excuse me. I almost said Cifaretto. Okay, what can you say about Heat? Heat's fucking incredible. It's a movie I've only watched maybe 3 or 4 times. And I think it's kind of like, I just don't like wearing out like a good movie. Some movies, yes, but like this one, it just like, dude, it just hit like a hammer this time. Like, I think I'm also just getting a little older. So like when I watch certain movies, I'm like relating to the actual problems of the characters a little bit more. I've also been on a Michael Mann kick. I watched Manhunter. I think I talked about it last week. Incredible fucking film. Just incredible psychological drama about some FBI guy who's actually like a detective investigator, right? Looking into like how a serial killer thinks and how having to think like a killer takes a toll on his mentality, right? If I didn't talk about that last week, I will add it to next week because it's really good. I want to get off topic here, but been watching a lot of Michael Mann. Heat, though, man, like I really this time identified with the Al Pacino character. I remember watching it maybe a year or two ago and just being like, I just don't really like get this Al Pacino character as much as I understood De Niro, I understood Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore. They are out for the money. Him, This time I really heard what he was saying. He's like, I am out for justice. I do not care about anything else but catching you. And I'm not even mad at you for doing what you do. The scene where De Niro and Pacino, and if you haven't seen Heat, just broad strokes description, it is a crime thriller in Los Angeles about a group of men that do heists on banks, diamonds, metals, whatever. And Al Pacino's a detective who's onto him because there's this other guy in their group. I can't remember his name, but he ends up doing a murder while they're doing a robbery. He murders the police, and now they're seriously in fucking trouble because the cops want to take him down. They want to bring people to justice for murdering cops. And after this guy does it, they try to murder the guy who did it. They bring him to a diner, and like De Niro and his gang are like, let's just pop him. But when they take him outside to execute him, a cop's in the parking lot. They're like, fuck. And the guy slithers away, right? And of course, he goes to the feds, the police. He gets picked up, and he's getting protection, right? So these guys are seriously fucking unhappy. But this time watching it, the other guys are planning a job, right? They're going to do one last big $20 million fucking job, right? A bank job. And Pacino is trying to track him. And I just like his character this time. Like, I got it. He is this guy who he can't keep a marriage. His obsession with his job and justice keeps him from, it's like a stereotypical cop thing. You know, it's almost procedural, but like, it's not because it's who did it and the way they did it. And like Pacino plays this guy who is just, he knows he's fucking broken. He knows he disappoints the people around him. He knows he's not who he needs to be for his wife, especially. But he isn't even mad about it at this point in his life. He cares. He has a stepdaughter too. It's Natalie Portman in the film. He cares about her. He knows she's not getting the attention she needs from the mom because the mom's always taking Xanax and smoking pot. But he also is just like, I wish I could do everything. I can't. I have to answer the call to justice. And it has ruined his life, you know, per se. He knows it. This is his third marriage. He knows that time-wise, he can't be there, the commitment he wants to make. But in some scenes, like there's a scene towards the end and, you know, Natalie Portman slits her wrist at his place and like he takes her to the hospital. He finds her and he's just like, you know what? She probably did it here for a reason because if someone's to find her, he's like, he is reliable when you need him. His sense of justice is of the utmost importance. I also noticed like Pacino, like in a lot of scenes, like there was like women that he would like hug or like victims of crime and like he would hug them and like hold them and like I used to think I'm like God, it's like so over the top, but I'm like I think he knew in that moment that's like what people needed. He needed to let them know someone gave a fuck more than just like, hey, we're zipping this person up. This is another one for the night. His sense of justice was so high, it meant more to him than even perhaps like his family life or like, I don't know. He just held it in the utmost regard. And it is like, it's almost eye opening because like De Niro's character in the film is the exact opposite of justice. He is the man who just literally operates outside of the law. He is the one, it's a cat and mouse. You know, he's the fucking mouse the cat's chasing. And his disregard for like anything like morals or having something that's long term or like substantial in his life allows him to be the way he is. He does not care about having not even a moral compass. His code is the code of like the crime code. Like this is how we operate. You know, we're blah 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 blah. He does not want to be restrained. You know, none of these guys are. They're all fucking loose cannons, and like none of them have great relationships. Like they show Val Kilmer with his wife, and I'm like, dude, like I don't know. She was already cheating on him in the movie. The new guy obviously like, gets Hank Azaria. He comes and he's like, he gets caught by the cops because they're like, hey, what information do you have on the wife if you're sleeping with her? And like, it's just like the guy doesn't give a fuck about her. It's just a fling for him. And like, she realizes like, oh fuck, like I do like, you know, the Val Kilmer guy, like more than like, even though he's kind of a nutty, abusive husband in terms of like, he gets mad and he breaks shit and he's always doing crime, you know, she still wants to be with him. They got a kid together, whatever. But it's just interesting. It's an interesting study in like polar opposites. Although, like I said, there's this coffee shop scene with Pacino and De Niro. Like he kind of tells me, he's like, we're the same. Like you got to do your job. I got to do my job. Obviously, they're not the same because De Niro's on the side of justice. Besides the point, really identified with De Niro's character in this one. I also, you know, there was a, you know, point where he was trying to be manipulated by his wife. She like brought home another guy and like tried to make him angry. And the way he handles it, he goes, I'm not mad at you, motherfucker. I'm mad at her because you brought her here or brought you here. And he also said, he's like, I'm not even mad at her. He's like, I'm mad you're watching my TV. And he grabs his TV and takes it. And it's just so funny because it's like the guy obviously is uncomfortable, but like Pacino makes him feel like a bitch just by being there. He doesn't attack him verbally. He doesn't do anything to him specifically, but the guy knows that he's a complete piece of shit. And even like, dude, this scene happens right before he finds Natalie Portman, right? He and his wife have this massive falling out, and he just kind of tells her, he's like, look, I know exactly why this is happening, and I don't think I can fix it. Like, I don't think I can be, he's like, this happened to me before. And he, even after he gets Natalie Portman there at the hospital, she's like, do you think we can make this work? And he almost tells her, like, no, like kind of a goodbye. But then it's almost like optimistic because you're like, maybe like his complete and utter transparency is working, because it almost feels like, hey, maybe they will stay together. He kind of tells her, like, I'm not what you want. Like, I think you want somebody who will like be there all the time and like take you out to whatever fucking, dinner every night. Anyways, one final note on this movie. He was amazing. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Like, it's fucking absolute classic. The 90s golden era of cinema. But the sound design and the scene where they have the shootout when they're robbing the bank, which is just a fucking insane scene, is so good. And like Stevie and I both said it, like, God, it's just so Dark Knight-esque. And like 100%, I looked it up after. Christopher Nolan's talked a lot about Heat being a major influence on the Dark Knight series. And it's like, yeah, it's just written all over. You could tell, like, honestly, Heat must have been like, I don't know how old Christopher Nolan was when he saw it. Maybe he's like in his 20s. But he must have been like, I just want to make Heat. Because that's exactly what those Batman movies feel like. Heat's a 10 out of 10, though. Unbelievable movie. Let me get a little water. Just a touch. Hold on, guys. My goodness. All this talking. So the next movie I watched was Out of the Furnace 2013. I'd never seen it. Really great movie. It's directed by Scott Cooper, written by Scott Cooper and Brad Inglesby, excuse me. Director of photography, Mananobu Takayanagi. I don't know him, but he's fucking fantastic. This movie's beautifully shot in Pennsylvania and Jersey. Starring Christian Bale as Russell Bays, Casey Affleck as Rodney Bays Jr., Woody Harrelson as Harlan DeGroat, Willem Dafoe as John Petty, Zoe Saldana as Lena Warren, and Forrest Whitaker as Wesley Barnes. Hell of a cast, hell of a movie. Made it a strange time. This is actually a post-Dark Knight film for Christian Bale. When he was, I think, he must have booked every fucking role in the world after this, because I think he did Big Short. He did a lot of movies, right? Maybe Big Short might have been before. But besides the point, the setup is Casey Affleck and Christian Bale, the Bays brothers. They live in, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's somewhere in Pennsylvania, and they do like steel mill work. Like, Casey's character is actually, the Rodney character is actually in the army, and he goes to Iraq. He does like 3 or 4 tours throughout the film. He doesn't want to get a real job, and he's got a big problem with money. He borrows money, he gambles. He's just addicted. He's a degenerate. It's in him. He's got the disease. On the other hand, Christian Bale's character, the Russell Bays, completely committed to trying to be a straight arrow. He works at the mill. He takes care of his dad who's sick, and he just doesn't want, maybe it's his uncle who's also with him, but he doesn't want to let the family down. He does the right thing. He does drink. He drinks heavy, but like not in like this guy is such a drunk asshole kind of way. So anyways, in the beginning, his brother has debts with Willem Dafoe's character, John Petty, and it's like $1,500, and like it shows him. He works all day, and he goes over by the bar, has a couple of drinks. He's friends with the bartender. He's kind of a minor character in the film as well. And he goes back to John. He's like, hey, John, do you mind if I pay you? And when he goes in there, Woody Harrelson's character and another guy are actually like harassing fucking John Petty over money, but he's just like, come on in. And he gives him the $1,500, pays him off, and tells him, like, don't tell my brother I paid you. He's like, let's settle up. I don't want any problems, because I know he's a fucking idiot. He's probably not going to pay you. And he goes, all right, that's fine. But he's like, your brother wants to borrow money. He keeps coming. He's like, I get it. He's like, just let me know. I don't want you hurting him, basically. Well, anyways, Christian Bale drives home from the bar that night, and as he's driving home, he slams into a minivan, and he kills I think it's a mom and a kid. Boom. Next scene, he's going to prison for the rest of his fucking life. Right. Not the rest of his life, but for a few years, for sure, in the movie. So it's drunk driving, DUI. He's in jail. Jail sucks for him. His brother visits him occasionally throughout this little montage. But, he's like, oh, I'm going back to Iraq, this and that. Finally, we cut to him. He's out. His brother's out of the army. He picks him up. They go home. His brother's now doing like bare knuckle fighting for money, right? And Christian Bale's getting back on his feet. He's going to work at the mill again. He's going to do, he's going to just fucking go back to living his life. And he's very changed by what happened to him. He's just upset that he killed these people. It still haunts him, right? But the big thing is that his girlfriend, I forgot to mention, Zoe Saldana, leaves him. while he's in jail. They were together, a perfect relationship. They had the fire, right? While he's in jail, she leaves him for Forrest Whitaker, the local cop. So, he's living his life, no lady, his brother's in trouble. And then he tells his brother, who like gets mad at him because his brother's traumatized from the war. He tells him, like, they get in a fight and he's just like, you need to stop gambling. You need to stop fighting. Like, come work at the fucking mill. Like, just fucking get real, dude. And he gets mad and he breaks some shit. And he's like, I've seen fucking like dead kids. I've seen people beheaded, like all this Iraq shit. And he's just like, you don't fucking know. He's like, I don't give a fuck if I die, basically. And he's like, okay, man. And then he goes down to the John Petty guy and he's like, I want to fight. And he's just like, you don't want to fight? He's like, if you want to fight, he's throwing fights now, like just to get paid. They're just like rigging fights. He's like, set me up with these people up in like Ramapo, I think, or some New Jersey, like Appalachia town or Appalachia, whatever they call it. Anyways, Willem Dafoe, against his better judgment, is like, fuck it. I'll set up the fight. But he's like, these people don't fuck around. Like, they'll take a life. He's like, we'll go up there and do it. So Casey and his fucking brother, or Casey and the Willem Dafoe character, John Petty, they go up there. Rodney and fucking John Petty, they go up to fight. Christian Bale's character is just going to work, trying to live his life. He goes and visits his ex-girlfriend, by the way. Like, he's like, oh, hey, like, can we maybe get together? And she's like, no, like, I'm dating this new guy. She's remorseful, though. You can tell she, like, really loves him. Anyways, when his brother's up north, he ends up throwing the fight. The John Petty guy tells the other dude, he's like, hey, like, we threw the fight for you. Like, settle up my debt. Because even John Petty's got debts with these guys, for cash. And the guy's like, fine. Like, Woody Harrelson's like, fine, we'll settle the debt. And as they're leaving town, Woody Harrelson like comes with his gang and he pulls him over. He goes, actually, like, no, like, and he kills them. He kills both of them. He's like, we're not going to settle the debt. He's like, fuck you. You're not getting away that easy. Like, the guy's just a nut. He's like a meth head, heroin shooting nut. And anyways, this triggers Christian Bale's character, Russell Bass, to like be like, I need to fucking find my brother. He finds out his brother's missing. And then eventually he finds out he's dead. And he's like, I'm going up there to get him. And like, the last 40 minutes of this movie are fucking bonkers. Like, the build up to it is slow. Christian Bale is a man who does not want to be bothered. He does not want to have any problems in his life. Inadvertently hits somebody in a car accident while he's drinking and driving. He was remorseful. It was not what he wanted to do. Obviously, that goes for anybody drinking and driving. But like, this character, you knew through his good actions that he wouldn't have done this if he planned to do it. The guy didn't want it. And he's trying to take care of his brother. He finds out his brother's dead. I won't ruin the ending, but like, I think you get where it's going. Like, he's going for revenge. It turns into a revenge movie, and it is fucking insane. Beautifully shot. It really showcases like this Pennsylvania town. Like, America's so big, it's so eclectic and so diverse in terms of like environment and culture. And like, this looked like another country. I can't emphasize how much like California, like I've been thinking about this a lot, especially after traveling in the past year. Dude, California is one country, if you want to call that a state. I guess it's just a small country, right? We're so different, like, from what that is. Like, if you grew up in Pennsylvania, like, you're a Pennsylvanian or whatever. I think that's the right term, but like, that's what you are. That's what you know. It's like M. Night. He shoots movies in Pennsylvania because that's what he fucking knows. It's his environment. And I think I'm just like really starting to see like, and I'm not saying I wouldn't shoot a movie somewhere else, but I'm like, wow, like this guy, like Scott Cooper, he and his DP really captured this environment very well. And I was really impressed with the movie. I think I've seen some of his other movies. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but dude, overall, the movie was just phenomenal. It was a heavy hitter. Is it the happiest movie? Absolutely not. Is it a movie I'd watch again? Definitely. I actually encouraged Stevie and Christine to watch it with me. Reminiscent of Gone Baby Gone, another Casey Affleck movie, but I think it was just that era of filmmaking. Things looked that way. Actually, let's say this. A movie was shot, Gone Baby Gone in 06. This was 2013. Different, but still in the film era. You can tell it was beautifully shot on 35 millimeter film. Anyways, Out of the Furnace, 10 out of 10, another great film. If you're looking to watch something that's like crime thriller with some really high profile actors and some really like genuinely authentic performances, it's good. I will say this, it's a slow burn, but it never bores you. Never bores you. Okay, the last movie I watched is End of Watch, 2012. Director and writer David Ayer, director of photography Roman Vazanov. Cast is Jake Gyllenhaal as Brian Taylor, Michael Pena as Mike Zavala, Anna Kendrick as Janet Taylor, Natalie Martinez as Gabby Zavala. And Anna and Gabby, this Natalie Martinez, respectively play like the boyfriend, girlfriend, wives of Jake Johnson or Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena's characters. We'll call them Brian and Mike as they're named in the movie. This movie goes into everything I said earlier about filmmaking. David Ayer wrote Fast and the Furious. He had some co-writers, but he's one of the main writers. He's made some interesting and some also shitty movies over the last years. He made some great movies like Fury, some mid movies like Suicide Squad, but End of Watch may just be his masterpiece, aside from that Fast and the Furious script, which I can never say enough good about. The movie is filmed in that low budget, found footage type way where the actors holding the camera and everyone's filming each other and like the other actors are filming the other actors and the camera's right there in the shot. They don't give a fuck. Like they use the motivation of Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Brian is doing how do I say this? He's doing like a elective for one of his colleges or some shit, right? And as a cop, he's like, I guess still going to school, but he's trying to record shit for his like elective class, right? He's making kind of like, I don't know, documentary, a movie. It all comes together, right? But just that motivation of him doing that gave so much leeway to the movie. And there's some nice helicopter shots every now and then. There's some more cinematic looking shit. But 90% of this movie is filmed like handheld by the actors with like cheaper cameras than like your average Panavision or fucking whatever. And dude, it just shows you that like, dude, it does not matter. Having high profile actors, yes, it does help. It elevates the fucking work immediately because there's some fucking famous faces, right? But this movie just like, I was so glad I watched it. And this was another point and shoot. We're just watching, like, End of Watch looks good. Watched it. It's just the type of movie that like right now feels more like not the type of movie, but the tone, or at least like the visual that I'm like, I don't want to stress out about how ridiculous high quality it is. The midlife crisis mobile of fucking cameras. I don't need it. I don't need the Corvette. I don't need the Ferrari. And I'm not even saying the tools I'll be working with aren't that good. But I think they're just as good, but they're easier to use. I don't need to complicate things with my production. And this movie, End of Watch, did exactly that. They made it easy, and then it made almost watching the movie easy, and it just was a hell of a ride. If you haven't seen End of Watch, I'll give you the general fucking elevator pitch. Two cops on patrol. It starts off with them making a big, like, they get in a shootout and they kill some gangsters, you know? And now they're kind of the cock of the walk, and they keep upping themselves throughout the movie. Like they bust a bigger drug dealer, they bust another crime ring here and there, right? It's all rooted in reality, and we see the kind of the course of their life over maybe a year, right? One of them gets married throughout the year, one of them has a baby. We just see things keep going and progressing. And the movie does have some tragedy in it as well, but it was just so authentic and so real. When you have two class grade A fucking talents like Pena and Gyllenhaal, their improv feels fluid. They're very smart guys. I was telling Stevie this. Like a lot of people think like there's the stereotype of like the handsome dumb actor, sure, right? But then there's like the sophisticated intellect who is actually very self-aware, that can emulate feelings and create these fucking scenarios, who also has a great sense of humor, who also has high emotional intelligence. These two gentlemen, and including the actresses as well, Anna Kendrick and Natalie Martinez, they get it. They're able to make these scenarios feel real and authentic. And like, if anything, like with filmmaking in general, that's what I'm chasing right now. And this movie captured that exact essence. Also, notable mention, there was Hopper from fucking Stranger Things. This is David Harbour. He was in the film. It's funny to see him in something before. I've seen him in a James Bond movie as well. I can't remember which one. I want to say Quantum of Solace, but it's just funny to see him. You know, he played a cop and he had a pretty significant role in the film. He's a strong minor character. You've seen him a few times throughout it, but yeah. And to watch though, just gritty, authentic. It also played into like non-politically correct jokes and shit, which like we were all laughing. We were all having a fun time. It's okay to make fun of each other as long as it's done, you know, with love and in jest. And like, there was also some like pretty racist shit being said by some of the characters, but it was also supposed to be the hood where like maybe those stereotypes come on stronger through like the characters, like, you know, just like how people there may actually talk, you know, unfortunately. And it was wild. You know, it's also just crazy. Like, I just feel like people have gotten too sensitive. Like this movie was unhinged, and it's like, bring back just authentic, unhinged, how society kind of really is filmmaking. And to watch though, couldn't get enough of it. It's sad when it ends. and it ends in like a kind of a sad way, but not sad where you're gonna be like upset. Not actually, you might be fucking upset. The movie ends on a pretty sad note. But they bounce back. They bounce back with a nice little happy outro. All right, guys, we're at that point of the show. And just to put a cap on end of watch, 10 out of 10. I'm going to read one of my affirmations out of the filmmaker mindset. It's something I've been doing the last couple episodes. I think it's fun to do. I also think it's cool. It's a soft promo of the book, but at this point, like, the book's been out for a while, and I just find myself still coming back to it. Like, if it's just out, like, I can't help it. I just pick it up, and I'm like, I don't know, just read a couple pages. Even reading it right now, I'm like, okay, at least it goes fast. It's very quick. Look here. I feel like I've read some of these before. I can't remember because I read it too often. I like this one. I am becoming undeniable through repetition. I think with anything you're doing it as often as possible is good. I will apply this to podcasting. Becoming undeniable through repetition. I have gotten so much better at speaking in a long format and articulating my thoughts just from doing this show every week. And I've gotten better at shooting this show. I've gotten better at doing everything, recording, shooting, etc., all through repetition. It's all about the reps. Like, it really is. Like, anything you do in life. I mean, Stevie's been shooting 3-pointers down at the park out in my parents' neighborhood. And fuck, man, his three's gotten good. I have to give a little fucking credit to repetition. So anything you're doing, even if you feel like it's not going well, just keep doing it. You gotta, I think you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And that's some fucking true advice. The other one on here is like one of my more bullet points. I feel like I kind of push throughout the entire book and just in general, like my philosophy on filmmaking and life, but I don't need permission to create. No one's coming to give it to me. Like, look, permission granted. You can do whatever you fucking want. Do not get trapped in the prison of your mind. So many people do this. People are like, should I do it? Should I not? Do I think I'm good? It's like, well, maybe you fucking suck, but we won't know until you make something. So you don't need someone to come and tell you like, hey man, I think you're really good. I think you could do this. When you put something out and somebody comments on it on the internet, or somebody sees it and says, hey man, I really like that shit. There's your temperature test. If you even give a fuck about what someone else thinks, don't worry too much. Because once again, even if they said I thought your shit fucking sucked, you can just be like, well, I don't need your permission to go and try again. But if somebody does compliment your work and you get a little flattery that boosts your ego just enough to go and make the next thing, that can't hurt. That can't hurt at all. That can just propel you. It could be one thing someone says, and you might be like, fuck, you know what? I got at least one fucking fan. I got one listener on my song. I got one person liking my post because they believe in me or believe whatever. That can be very good when you're starting. But I promise you, the more you do the repetition and the less you start seeking external validation, the better you'll get at doing whatever you're fucking trying to do. You don't need someone else to fucking tell you that you're good or that you're doing all right or whatever. You will get that response from putting stuff out. People will reach out to you, I promise you. But as far as getting started or creating and stuff, don't be afraid of just doing it. It's like people that I always see people say oh, I'd like to learn how to play guitar one day. I'm like, man, buy a guitar and start fucking banging those strings. You might just figure it out. Watch some fucking YouTube videos. I didn't even have YouTube when I started playing guitar. I had tabs, tabature. And I remember I was oh, I gotta get the tab right, or people are gonna think I suck. It's most people don't give a fuck about you, or you're playing and shit. Yes, when you're with other musicians, it can be a little brutal, but that's a very specific example. When you're making stuff, also let me say this: if you're creating and you don't put it out, it's still good to just do it, because you might create a couple things and then get to a point where you're like, hey, this one's ready. I think it's ready, in my opinion. Your opinion, no one else's. I think I'm ready to release it to the world, and then just do that. Don't get caught up in fucking worrying about somebody else, let alone somebody else's opinion. I promise you, most people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. And if they are, they're probably a fan or they're fucking a hater. And there are the jealous motherfuckers out there that'll try and anything you do rain on your day. But those aren't the people. Let them enjoy the show. And like I said, permission granted. You want to create, go and do it. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do when I get out of this fucking house. I'm getting very close. Like, here's the deal. I'm thinking this. It's a coin toss right now on this deal. Maybe after this podcast, I'll find out the house isn't sold. Maybe I'll find out I'm moving out in a day or two. Yeah, at this point, I don't care. I'm just like, you know what? Whatever is God's will, whatever the universe wants me to do, I've accepted it. And it makes life a lot fucking easier. That doesn't mean I'm not planning and scheming and doing my thing. But once I get out of this motherfucker, I'll create. And if I'm stuck here for 2 more months, I'll start fucking making like something like complete improv, just start making something. Cause like, I think I'm kind of at that point where I just don't, like, I couldn't wait a little longer. I think if I could move into this new house and start filming, I can make something like, you know, where I'm like, all right, we're going to go out, we're going to do this every day or every night. But I'm kind of just got this wild hair where I'm like, it's like whatever, like, you know, I might even tell Stevie, just get an outfit and we'll start filming something, you know. It's coming from somebody who likes to do things very scripted, very like have a plan, but we'll see. Anyways, I think I've talked enough. I definitely have. I don't even know how long I've been in here. The last pod was long as fuck. And I was just like, that was fucking an hour and a half. I was like in here for fucking 30 minutes, right? But anyways, what's today? It's Monday. I actually love Monday. I think it's a great day. I know people are like, oh, Monday, but like people fucking communicate. We found out all this shit with the agent today because people are actually fucking out and doing shit. So I'm gonna go out and do some shit. I had some fucking eggs and bacon this morning. I had to go to a diner because I couldn't fucking cook here and getting a little hungry, getting a little hangry. Maybe I'll take a little walk with Steve. We've been hitting the fucking Starbucks at the hospital, which is open till like 11. Super sweet. I guess at this point, I'm just telling you shit I want to do, shit I'm doing, or shit I've done. All right. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. If I don't talk to you next Monday, it'll be sometime next week. But yeah, it's always good to do a little pod ski and tell everyone what's going on. Anyways, guys, I'm Devin Thomas. This has been another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you all next week. Peace, guys.